Can you go onto YouTube and ask ChatGPT how to install your own smart controller? You sure can. You can even watch videos of me doing it where I explain how to do it. But is it worth your time to do all that research to figure out how to install the smart controller yourself? Well, that depends on how much your time is worth to you. This customer that I'm at right now, she's an attorney. Her time is worth a lot to her. So she'd rather not spend the time on YouTube or watching my videos to figure out how to install this controller. Even though she's capable of doing that, her time is worth more than that to her. So she's gonna go do her attorney job and I'm gonna go do my sprinkler job. My time is worth a lot too. Don't get me wrong. This is my specialty. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my specialty while she does her specialty. Let's get this controller installed. First things first, we gotta get that funky old controller off the wall. I mean, look at this. It's just hanging off the wall. So let's get that one off the wall so we can make room for the new one. This old controller is being replaced for a couple of reasons. Not just because it's hanging off the wall, but this thing got a mind of its own and it's controlling a potable water system, which means the customer is paying for every drop of water that's moving through that system. So when the old timer decided to run 2 or 3 times during the day when it wasn't supposed to, part of the problem here is they just had Romex with a random connector on it sticking out of this wall. I took the random connector off. I actually had to break it off to get it out. Here's part of it. Break it out to get it off, and I placed a short piece of liquid tight with a male adapter attached to it onto this box here so that I could feed that into the wall. And then I mounted this box using Tapcons, one right there and one up in the top left corner there, to mount it to the wall. This sucker ain't going anywhere. The water ain't gonna get into the wires. It definitely won't get in there. The next order of business is installing the box for the Rachio controller. Yep, that's right. We're installing a Rachio controller for this customer. You can call us and ask us to install any controller that you have. We'll be happy to do it for you. All right, so like I was about to say, next order of business is to take this guy, probably place him right in line with that disconnect there, and then we'll run a wire from that box to this box, which is the only way electricity will make it to the controller. You're seeing me install a box on the wall here without the controller in it, and that's because Rachio sells the controller as an indoor controller, as the standalone controller, and if you'd like to put it outdoors, you have to install that box. That is why I'm installing the box here, because we install our controllers on the outside of the building in Florida. I didn't realize I ran out of wires, so just ran out to Home Depot, grabbed a roll of wire. Let's keep this show going. Getting back into it here, we're gonna run the 14 gauge wire out of the new junction box we installed and into the new controller box that we put on the wall. From there, we can go ahead and close this up with a blank plate at the bottom. Next, I'm gonna throw some straps on here to make sure that the conduit stays on the wall like it should. I like to do these between 4 and 6 inches from the device, or the junction box in this case. Next, we'll work on replacing the wire between the controller and the master valve. In this case, we're dealing with a combo valve that is opening and closing the water for an indexing valve. For those of you who are not from Florida, we use a mechanical indexing valve, and yeah, I know, it's dumb. I wish we can get rid of them. I, in fact, told this customer that the next step in her irrigation system is to install electric valves so that she can get the full benefits of this smart controller. But for now, we're gonna have to set up this system with zone 1 and only zone 1, because that is the only electric valve connected to this controller. Believe it or not, that's the first time I've installed a Rachio controller with the outdoor box brand new like this. I've put them back on the wall, I've had to troubleshoot them, but this is the first time I've installed a brand new one. It went well. I like some of the things that I saw in there. For instance, there's a lot of room in the power bay in there where you have to make your wire connections. That makes things a lot easier. All that's left to do is go grab the homeowner so that we can grab her device and set up this controller on it, because I don't need to access this controller. She does. It's her house. I'm Sprinkler Dude, the sprinkler guy. And this is the attorney I was talking about. You said you didn't want to spend time on YouTube looking up videos and all of that. You're more than capable of doing that.
I do it all the time, but this was not something I was willing to do.
So
Best
she called.
money I could spend.
Thank you. All right, on to the next one. Oh yeah, and I definitely left my calling card.
Okay, let's go.